Hello guys, how you guys doing? My name is BJ Man, the publisher of HowExpert.com, where we publish short how-to guides on unique topics by everyday experts. And today we have a special guest with one of our HowExpert authors. Her name is Veronica Cordido. She is the author of one of our books, 21-Day English Guide for Tourists Visiting America. Learn how to speak English in 21 days with 1 hour a day while you visit America. And I want to read a little bio about Veronica so you understand where she's coming from. Veronica Cordido is an English translator, meaning she can translate English to Spanish and also Spanish to English. English as a second language instructor as well, and also an author of English and Spanish language guides and books designed for foreigners to master the basics of both languages fast and easily. Having been there as a foreigner more than 20 years ago and having found in languages, she discovered her passion for language. Having been there as a foreigner more than 20 years ago, having found in the languages as her passion, she combines the best of both experiences, the one as a student and one as a teacher, into her own teaching methods. She knows firsthand the ins and outs of becoming bilingual and will show you how to get there in no time, as if you weren't even trying. And I want to show you guys the book right here. 1 second. Here's the book that she wrote, 21-Day English Guide for Tourists Visiting America. It's very detailed. Okay, this is a table of contents. It is a guide specifically for people who are. This is useful for people who are visiting America for the first time. Veronica is originally from Venezuela, but she has lived in the United States. She's a citizen for the United States and for over 10 years. And she knows firsthand what's it like to go to America and learn a totally new language. And she's going to show you step by step from day one, day two, from checking into the airport, buying a plane ticket, checking in the airport, very practical guide on how to learn a language, how to learn English and use it while you're visiting America. She's also a freelance writer. You can check out the link below the video in the description to check out her freelancing services. She's also a freelance writer. She's an ESL teacher. And also, this is her LinkedIn profile as well. So if you want to get in contact with her, get in contact with her below the link below the video. Veronica, thanks for coming to this interview. How are you doing?
Thank you so much for inviting me. I enjoy being here.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So let's learn about your story of how did you, I mean, we were talking a little bit before. How did you find the passion, the love for languages? What's your story in the beginning?
Actually, when I finished high school, I was 17 years old, and I moved to Houston, Texas. And there was a program given by Rice University, which was the Department of Continuing Studies. They had an ESL program. ESL is English as a second language. So I finished all the levels there, and then I took the TOEFL. I went back. Well, that experience was amazing, especially because they didn't unite people. They tried to avoid putting people from the same culture together. That way you wouldn't speak in your own language. You were absolutely immersed in English.
Oh, so when you went there, you're saying you weren't allowed, elaborate again, you weren't allowed to speak other languages, or elaborate?
In the classroom, we were not allowed to speak our native language.
Okay.
So they did great because they combined in a classroom students from different backgrounds and cultures, but they tried not to put people from the same countries together, or countries that would speak the same language. So that helped a lot. Plus wow. The interaction with people, learning. So then, well, that was the beginning. Then I came back to Venezuela, and since I was bilingual already, I graduated as a translator. But funny enough, this career found me because I never considered, actually, I think I started in this career as a student, and I didn't know about it because, like, it was my first time in the USA. I was learning for the first time. Of course, English, I had a base with. So the point is that I was there, I saw the methodology, I saw the dynamic, I loved it, but I never considered it to be a career for me. We're talking back in 1996.
Right.
So since I'm an American too, I had the opportunity to go to live in the United States from the year 2000 until the year 2013. Now there is a myth, or I had a coevision, and it was that because I speak English as a second language as well, I never thought that I could be teaching English because I felt that Americans were the ones that were supposed to be doing that, right?
Yes.
But the funny thing is that the majority of the people who are entering this career are have English as a second language because it's like overlooked by Americans. It's like they don't take into account that this is actually a career, and it is a very fun career because in an environment where you have a lot of pressure at the job in your jobs and you get like in a 9 to 5 rat cage, you have the opportunity to have fun with this. So as a so it's a fantastic experience.
And
Actually,
absolutely. And I guess like a lot of people born in America, they take it for granted speaking English. And they don't know they don't have the challenges of coming to a new country and learning a completely new language like yourself. And myself included, I came to America as an immigrant, and English is my second language as well. But you went through that journey, so you're able to help other people going through that same journey as well, it sounds like. Okay.
absolutely. So funny enough, my career as a translator didn't take off that much, but like I said, by fate, I ended up teaching, and people started loving it. So I opened up my own company, and then I started developing all these programs, and I took a TEFL course, which I will tell people later on the way they can become teachers as well. And well, that was pretty much it. My experience was fantastic. I met people. That's why I say people should learn English. People who speak English, well, the United States is a melting pot, no doubt. But many, many other countries, even though every country has immigration, you cannot have the same experience of sharing with people from so many cultures. And the thing is that at the end of the day, you notice that we are all the same. I mean,
Yeah.
despite different culture differences, we all communicate the same way, and it opens up so many doors.
Let me ask you this.
Uh-huh.
You've been an ESL teacher, translator as well. You have experience teaching a lot of people. Now, I've noticed, I live in America, so I've noticed some people come to America, they've lived for many years, and they don't know how to speak English. They don't know anything. But some people come here and they learn super fast. What is the difference? What is the difference so people can learn the key concepts to learn English faster and better? For people out there watching,
I actually believe a little bit of a mental block and a little bit of laziness, in the sense, not that they are lazy, but if you surround yourself with people who speak your own language all the time, it is very difficult to master that language. So they tend to have a subgroup instead of integrating. Because you see, the best way to learn a language is to do like kids do. It's been proven that sitting with a grammar book and learning all that is not so efficient. It's like for your brain to get used to a language, and you have to get exposed. So for example, I'm teaching here in Venezuela, but I try to do an intensive course, and my students have to watch videos all the time, watch programs in YouTube, put the TV on. Even if they're doing other things, they need that contact, that interaction with the language. So that's what happened. And I did notice that when I was in Miami, that sometimes there were Cubans that were there for like 20 years and I didn't learn, but they have the same capabilities. It's just that for a reason they're blocked, or they language too. You gotta learn to like it, to be able to see it as fun and improve more. That's one of the key things. And that's what makes the difference between academic English, teaching academic English when you are an English major, or teaching a course like English as a second language. The dynamic is absolutely different.
Right,
So
absolutely.
that's important too.
Exposed to the language. You cannot come here if you're from a certain country. You cannot hang out with those people all the time, because if you do, I mean, I'm Korean, so I see some Koreans here. They hang out only with Koreans in Koreatown only, and they don't know how to speak English after all these years. you know, but you got to expose yourself and hang out with Americans, listen to American music, everything English. That's how you get better at it.
Exactly. And there are many opportunities there because you have colleges that offer English courses for free. Like I was living in Miami and Broward Community College offered English courses. So it's like I said, it's a matter of trying to stop that mental block and loving the language, because actually you can learn so much from it in many ways.
You mentioned mental block. Please elaborate on that. What do you mean by mental block some people have to prevent them from learning the language faster? What is an example?
Well, I have many students who from the beginning, they say, English is too difficult for me. I've tried many times and I can't do it. And when they have that CD in their minds, it's really difficult. You have to open up your mind and try to have fun. Mm-hmm. People won't be if they feel the language is a pressure. You are more likely to learn it when you're motivated and when you learn at least 2 little things in a class. So generally, I tell my students it is a long process, especially when you are in a country where people do not speak English as a second language. But what happens? If they learn at least 3 or 4 things per class, which is the idea, to give them like content that they can manage within the week, they start getting motivated. And I do have students. I have a 13-year-old who was like reluctant to receive classes with me, and now she loves it. And she's all the time telling me, hey, how do you say this and how do you say that? Because you make it fun. If I had I taught her just with a grammar book, it wouldn't be the same. But like I said, I exposed her to videos, music, and fun things for teens, and that is pretty much the best way, I would say, to learn.
That's a great point. So most people have a mental block, like anything they want to learn. Oh, it's too difficult. But you say one of the ways to overcome it is to make it fun. Don't just read a grammar book all day, but listen to music, mix it up to make it fun so it becomes easier. Is there additional ways to overcome the mental block for some people who are saying, I've tried English, you know what, it's so challenging. I don't know if I cannot learn. I'm just bad with languages. Is there any additional ideas to help them overcome that mental block? Because it's a lot mental.
Yes. Unfortunately, you cannot do anything in regards to how people think. You can try to change the dynamic to show them that they might be wrong. So what I do is sometimes I have students that I tell them you have a mental block, and they keep teaching them for months, and hey, but you can do it. So I try to turn it around, like I said. So do you like a movie? Okay, let's watch it. Let's talk about it. Let's put the subtitles there, and you can read. You have to in a way notice the way your students react better. Some people are visual, other ones are auditive. You know, the other ones have better listening skills and so on. But that's the only thing I would say. I try to make it fun for them. That's the only way I take the block away. Try to make it fun.
What's interesting about you is that you have an interesting passion for learning the English language. Not everyone does, right? Not everyone does. But I want to hear your mind, like, for the person who, if you have a passion for something, you're going to learn faster. Like, how did you develop this love, this passion for languages and learning English? So we want to learn your mindset so other people who don't have that mindset can have that mindset so they can learn faster. How did you develop that?
Well, the same way that I do it. I started because I loved it. You see, when I went to study, I didn't know English, but I ended up having so much fun, and I was in an intensive, so I had to go from Monday to Friday, maybe 7 hours a day, and it didn't feel like I was doing that because they made it so dynamic that it was just a very fun experience.
Okay, so the class that taught this made it dynamic.
Absolutely dynamic. You know, there were like games, videos, interaction. It wasn't just someone writing something down on a board and explaining you. That wasn't the way to do it. So I guess you start loving it. Now it's a different experience when you go and you live in a country where you are immersed in a country that speaks English as a native language, and you're exposed in that way. But you know, I see they do have the same results, honestly, if they try. Because
Nice.
if you like talking to people, and one thing that's important is to realize, and I actually feel kind of bad for that, because people when they graduate here from in Venezuela, they do not achieve a bilingual level like Europeans do or Scandinavians do. So what happens that sometimes you want to get some information, and the best information online is in English. So I've run into so many interesting things that I think would enrich people, and they can't understand it, and that's sad because we're missing a huge world knowledge, cultures. It's great. That's why I'm so passionate about it, because it
Oh.
changed my life.
Now, what is for
Absolutely.
people who are just getting started learning English? They're learning, but it's challenging for them. What's the main benefit you can tell them? You need to learn English because why?
Well, because you have, like I said, you have access to a lot of information that you wouldn't have if you only get stuck in your own language. Second, the opportunity to travel and the opportunity to meet people from countries that you wouldn't even think possible. You know, I met people from Tunis. I met people from Bulgaria, the Netherlands, everything, and it's fascinating because then you even forget just that you speak a different language. So you're just interacting, learning from their culture, realizing beyond the language, like I said before, that we're just one. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. I really love it.
Right. Now, you've written a lot of guides, including 21 Day to English for Tourists, as well as other study guides to learn languages. How do you structure it so that the person, the student, the reader can learn it a lot better, a lot faster? How do you structure it? Is there a way
Well,
you teach differently?
Well, yeah, there is an advantage with English. English is an easy language, and it has a structure, and that structure is always the same, and you change some vocabulary. So if I give too much information, they
Hmm.
will get blocked. So the idea is to give them a little chunk or a little piece of information that is very concise, and they can repeat it and and listen to that. Even if sometimes they tell me, "Oh, I don't have time." Yeah, you do, because you can be cleaning your house and you can have it in the background, you know. So it's that. So for example, I would teach them, let's learn I would like to. That's not going to change. I would like to eat. I would like to sleep. I would like a soda. I would like to go to the dance. So you see, the good thing in English is you have a structure. So what I do is I try to make sure that in one lesson, and I don't show them so many things that I confuse them, just very vital, important things that they can practice. And once they learn it, we move on. The idea is not the course to pass by you and you not passing by the course. You know, you need to
Wow.
learn what you're doing. So, and that keeps people stimulated, because once they learn three things in a week, they don't feel like they're wasting their time and they're not doing anything. So that's what I try to do. I try for them to learn at least four structures, not
Right.
rules, four structures.
And that's how it seems like you did
So
the 21-day English guide is broken down to 21 days. That was your idea to break it down to 21 days, right? That's why you want to break it
yes,
down in small chunks. Okay.
absolutely, absolutely. And the idea with that book is that they can take it with them when they travel, because I did it in a series, like the series you would do when you travel. You buy your ticket, you get to the airport, you check in, you interact with customs and immigration, then you interact with the flight attendants inside the plane, and then you take a cab and all those things. So I have them organized, and they can go to the book and they can they learn. And there are some drilling exercises which are very good. But I would suggest people not to learn by translation, but by association. And that's very important, because some people get so stuck up trying to translate from a language to another, and actually you can't do it, because there are words in English that we do not have in Spanish, for example. They're
Wow.
very pictoric. So sometimes a noun becomes a verb in English too. and it will confuse people, and we don't have that. So you have to, like, if you learn the word house, you cannot be translating it. You need to see the image.
Yeah, yeah. You
And
got
so that's the best way, just like kids do.
Oh, so it's not just by translation, but like you say, association is a better way to learn at times.
Yeah, actually, by translation, it's a little difficult. It's not worth it. You have to get to the point. Of course, at the beginning, all students do it. It's normal, but it takes like 3 months for the brain to get used to the new language. And the idea is for you to start speaking in English. Thinking in English, not translating things. And that's what prohibits people from speaking.
Now,
and actually, me as a translator.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's talk
go ahead.
People who have a passion for a language like you, right? Maybe they can make this into their career. Do you have any advice for those people who want to make this into a career? English as a second language. What can they do?
Absolutely. First, they need to have the knowledge that that career exists, because many people overlook it. They don't even know that you can teach. And another thing important is that if they are speakers of another language, like I am, okay, they cannot, it won't be good that they close the doors on themselves just because they think that they cannot do it because they're not Americans, okay? Because you have, and actually, that's an important thing to realize. Second, there are 3 degrees that you can take, and you do not need a college education. Of course, a college education always opens the door for you, but there are courses to teach English. And teach English the dynamic way. English is a second language, which is different from academic English. So you have 3 courses. You have teaching English as a second language. That's generally for people who live in an English-speaking country and they want to teach from there, such as the way I learned. All my teachers were teaching English as a second language in Houston. But then you have another certificate, which is teaching English for foreign students, or actually teaching English as a foreign language. With that certificate, you can work abroad, or you can go back to your home country and you can do what I'm doing right now. Okay, and then you have the TESOL, which is teaching English as a second language for foreigners, I think, and it's a combination of both. So you could travel and you could stay where you live, like in the United States or in London or wherever you want to. The good thing about that is that those are short careers. For example, UniPrep offers those courses. I took them, and it's like an online course, 120 hours for the credits, and they give you an international certificate. Wow. So so it's not a block not to have a college degree. And also, it's important that was a message that I wanted to give to people, because we always are under the impression that we cannot succeed unless we go through college. College does open doors, but you can make yourself as you go, hands-on project, and you can become super successful if you love what you do and you have high standards for what you do, and you can work freelance too. I don't work for a company. I work freelance in my country. So those are very good advantages. So what would I say to people? Try to check out those certificates. They are not expensive. And they might discover that this is a career that has no pressure. It has a lot of fun. It doesn't enclose you in like a rat cage where you don't know how to get out of it. You enjoy it. So that's why I really think people should be doing this. And those people who are born in America, who have English as a second language, as a first language, my apologies, they should know that that career exists too, and it would be so much fun for them.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very good advice. Very good advice, because of the internet, the world has so many possibilities now. You don't necessarily need to put limits in your own mind saying, just because I don't have a college degree, I can't teach English, or just because I'm born from another country, including myself too, like I can't pursue this path. Yes, you can, because in fact, I believe you absolutely can, because you understand the student's perspective. and you understand their struggles, their challenges, and you can connect with them, resonate with them, help them from that experience as well, not just teaching, but also their experiences. So that's a very good advice. I like the point about the certificate. Is there an official website that people can go to find an official one place to get those certificates, or is it multiple websites? Is there one really recommended website?
Well, the thing is that there is one that it's internationally accredited, and that's UniPrep, because sometimes institutes offer those Yes, it's the UniPrep Institute. I guess it's uniprep.com. I could check that out, but it's uni/prep. Okay? And they do offer the internationally accredited certificate. Some other institutes might not, but
yes. And that's fascinating. That's awesome. Like, people who are watching this who may be passionate about language like Veronica, I mean, and whether you're from America or first language or it's a second language, it doesn't matter. If you're passionate about it, you can pursue this as a career as well, just like Veronica is doing. She wrote a book. She's a freelancer. She's an ESL teacher. She's teaching people. I mean, it's only getting bigger and better, you know? I could totally see that, and that's awesome that you're enjoying your career. Not everyone enjoys their career, but you're enjoying your career.
That's the gift. Yes. And that's why I wanted to tell people, I will say it again, that even if they feel prohibited because English is their second language, as long as they teach people and those people can achieve the level where they're at, that's a very big success.
Yes, yes.
After that, the student, they can perfection or improve their skills. That's okay, but there is a value that ESL teachers can give, even though they're from another country. So
and I really like your story.
That's important.
When we were talking about before, you were saying when you went back to Venezuela, you were trying to be a translator. You started off with 2 clients, because I want people to know it's not going to be all easy overnight, right? But you started off small, and you started growing your clientele. It was a journey, right? It was a journey.
Yes. Well, yes, I would say part of my career started as a student without me knowing it, because I remember how the dynamic was when I studied translation. I learned all the grammar, and the institute was so great that I kind of saw how the teachers taught. So that helped me a lot. But like I said, in my case, the career found me. I didn't find the career because I had to come back to Venezuela for personal reasons. And I actually didn't even know what to do here because I didn't think there was such demand for English. So people started to ask me, would you teach me? Would you teach me? And actually I started with one person, and that person told many people, and I ended up being full with classes. So it was so good that I started developing my own programs, okay, instead of using someone else. Yeah. And well, that's pretty much it. In this case, it did find me. Translation, which is my degree, didn't. But you know, you always have a destiny. But the good thing is that for real, there are few. For example, being a translator is stressful because they give you a project and they say you need to have it done in 3 weeks. And you don't get up from your seat. You work so hard translating that your neck hurts, everything hurts, it's stressful, but teaching is not. Teaching is fun, and it's difficult to find a fun career, you know, nowadays.
And you're a very good inspiration of people who have a passion for language. And like you said, you didn't know exactly what you were going to do when you went back to your home country, but started off with 1 student, right? Turned into 4, to classrooms. I mean, this is an inspiration for anybody who has a passion. Like look at those clues. Like, people are going to ask you about things you're good at. They're going to ask you. She listened to it and she taught it, turned into 4, classroom, got bigger, and she's continuing to grow. So very, very, very good inspirational story as well. And other people who are interested in language, you can follow her path as well. Okay.
And now I offer in company services. I go to companies and I teach them, and I give them a corporative package, and I teach them either intensive English classes or tourism, like I said before. So it allows you to be freelance too. Of course, if I were teaching in the United States, it would be a little bit difficult for me just because you're in an English-speaking country. Okay, where at the end, I am a foreigner. But even if you graduate there, you have companies that would send you overseas and they would pay everything for you. In my case, I went freelance. But if someone goes back to their own home country, they can do freelance. They can do a freelance career like me, or they can get a job in an institute and travel.
Right. Absolutely. That's awesome. The limits are endless at the end of the day. So guys,
Absolutely.
If you are interested in Veronica's book, if you are coming to America for the first time, you want to actually have a book that is going to teach you from a real life person who has experience just like you to learn the basics step by step. Go to Amazon.com, click on the link below, get 21-day English guide for tourists. If you want to work with Veronica as for freelancing projects, for English to Spanish translator, ESL instructor, and writer, click on the link below the video for Upwork. And this is also Veronica's LinkedIn page as well, so you can learn more information. Veronica, it was great talking to you, and and I wish you the best of success in your future. Thank you for coming to this interview.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed this interview. Thanks a lot. I hope you have a wonderful day.
You too. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.